What's going on, everyone? It's your favorite Jillisator Apoc, and welcome back to the channel where I analyze things that sometimes don't really matter. So last time we talked about the goofy named Jonathan Joly. He made a fool of himself when he released this monstrosity of a video called Coming Out, where he came out as nothing, just claimed to have created his own world and reality and imaginary friends, and went on about an adventure, but didn't give any details at all, which I guess he's just gonna save for his book. What a ripoff. Anyways, one big factor that I noticed from Johnny Boy here is that he's faking all of this because he's no longer relevant. The views are down in his channel and fame have tanked beyond all recognition, and it's clearly getting to him. It's actually quite sad to see him turn into this sad little man who needs to pull fast ones on his audience so that he can try to cling onto something that once was but will never be again. Now, I came across a couple of clips that we're gonna dive into today that express more of what I'm going on about. To be honest, I don't even think I really need to show these because we've all seen enough. I mean, the dude literally admitted to lying to his entire community for the past 10 years. But before we get into it, if you're enjoying the content, enjoying the tea, then consider subscribing to the Jillisator Squad, and if you don't, well, I guess that's your loss, huh? Okay, let's see what this leprechaun has to say.
I spent a lifetime hiding my true self, and that has given me the tools I needed to become a master chameleon.
Hear that? The people that bullied him and forced him into pretending to be something that he's clearly not, they apparently gave him a life skill. And you know, he really doesn't sound all that unhappy about it either. In fact, from everything we have seen so far, he seems pretty damn proud of himself, which is odd for someone who acts as if the things that were done to him were just so darn horrible.
I could, and I still can, assimilate into any personality role that my survival requires.
So how do we know he's still not doing it? I mean, he's done it for the past 10 plus years. And what's survival? No one asked you to be a vlogger. Nobody forced him to be a vlogger. He chose to do that himself. It actually doesn't make any sense for him to put himself in the public eye and portray a different persona. I mean, he could get away with this if it was just his friends and family or something. You know, people who actually impact his life, but not randoms on the internet. He doesn't know any of the people that follow him, at least the majority of. So why would you push out a personality trait to them? This is just one of those does not compute moments, because it blows my mind for someone who apparently was bullied for being who they are, puts himself in a position where all eyes are on him. But how the hell do we know this adventure isn't an act 2? How do we know he's not pretending or lying or manipulating here? The dude literally said he can choose to be whoever he wants if he so chooses to do so.
If I needed to be a party boy, if I needed to be the alpha male, if I needed to date the popular cheerleader, then I would manifest a scenario and situation that would result in me becoming the best version of that personality.
So who's actively out here pressuring Jonathan to be the party boy or alpha male? From what it sounds like, none of those things were at play. So much for manifesting, huh? And just because you summon up the energy or whatever you did, doesn't mean others won't see past your bullshit. Mind you, he's boasting that he can manipulate any female that he wants into being with him if that's what he chooses to do. Imagine actually being proud of premeditated deception and emotionally manipulating women. It's actually pretty pathetic that he cannot find someone on his own accord without having to manipulate them, without having to result to being a scumbag. Who knows if he didn't pull this shit with Anna? And he calls all of this messed up shit survival. No, anyone with a little bit of brain power can clearly see this is just another compulsive lying narcissist at work.
Which was probably very confusing for a lot of people. People who worked with me professionally, people who knew me personally, friends and family. For that, I'm sorry if I was confusing.
He says confusing, but what he really means is he's sorry for being a pathological liar.
But I didn't even know who I was.
Maybe you couldn't keep up with your lies anymore and you confused your own self. You couldn't decipher if you were the party boy or alpha male, which I love. Those are the ones that he chose out of everything. If you didn't know who you were, then how the hell do you know that's what others didn't like? If you didn't know who you were, then why'd you have to hide yourself? It's just so funny when these people eat their own words.
On the inside, I knew who I wanted to be. But on the outside, whenever I would express that part of me, I would be mocked.
Did he not just say that he didn't know who he was?
So instead, I projected a personality that my experiences in life has taught me results in less pain.
What experiences what pain? He's being rather vague yet again. And why? We have to wait for his book? We have to buy your book to know what the hell you're talking about? That doesn't seem very fair to anyone who tunes in.
After 41 years of hiding behind the person I was supposed to be,
I thought you said you didn't know who you were, bruh.
I've decided I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm not gonna be the perfect projection. I'm not gonna be the person other people want me to be. I'm gonna be the person that Jonathan is. That Jonathan is supposed to be.
Him talking about himself in the third person is so utterly cringy. And how long has it been since he's been bullied? Apparently he's projected a persona out for a very, very long time. Seems like it was just when he was a kid, yet he's still projecting outward to people who never did anything to him. And it's just really weird that he's announcing all this and talking about the adventure and whatever else to people that he's projected to, which is his audience, his fans, his community. All those people are built upon lies and manipulation because they really don't know him. He admitted to lying to everyone for 10 plus years. And how the hell did he know that anyone would accept him? This is a guy who apparently was bullied and forced to hiding away from the world and creating his own reality. Yet he's putting himself in a position now to risk all of that to people that he's projected to. Which is funny because most people, not saying they don't accept him, but they're just not falling for his horse shit. All of this has backfired.
And I know I am not the only one that feels this way. So, let's go on an adventure.
Anyone else getting creepy vibes right now?
You're going to find out things about me that you didn't know.
Actually, you don't know anything about him because he's projected a persona, remember?
You're gonna find out things that maybe shock you. People ask me what the adventure is. They keep asking me, oh no, I see it in the DMs all the time. What is the adventure? I want to fucking tell you. I want to tell you so much. I want to tell you so you understand. And all the questions that you're asking me will all make sense.
Look at this little man get so excited. This is probably the most engagement he's had on his channel in years. But he could easily just tell people. But he's choosing not to because how else would he sell his book? Which is what? Based around his adventure. That's why he's being super vague. Doesn't want to give out any details. Doesn't want to deter one person from buying his book from his obvious money ploy. And there's that, but I also believe he actually has no idea what to tell anyone. He doesn't have a clue what to say. You would think after that coming out video, he would at least have something on standby and ready to go. You know, like a book to clarify the situation and not leave his community waiting and confused like he's been doing for the past year or so. But nope. Y'all gotta wait till 2022 to finally understand what this sad, pathetic little man is trying to spew. I think he's trying to buy time to figure out what the hell he's gonna tell everyone, because so far, it's all hogwash.
The journey, the adventure that I keep talking about, it's official. It's officially happening.
Yeah, that's because he set a date for the book release. Dude acts like he's going on tour or something. Watch him go on tour for this adventure. I wouldn't be surprised. And another thing that struck me odd about this whole adventure thing and the coming out video is that he really doesn't seem sad or pressed or emotional or anything, which is usually the case for people that come out. You know, they're revealing something they've hidden away for a long time. This is supposed to be a pretty big moment, but the way Jonathan is handling all of this just comes off as disingenuous. It doesn't seem real, and a lot of people aren't falling for this shit. And none of it makes sense either for someone who had to hide themselves from the world based from bullying, but then just throws his son and his story out there to the wolves. And have you seen people in comment sections? Have you seen some of these people online? They are ruthless out here. The bullying is much, much worse online, and we all know this. But Jonathan had no issue putting the spotlight on his son while he hid and cowered behind a mask.
I don't even know if you're going to hear from me first. I don't know where you're going to hear it, but you're going to hear about it.
The crap this guy says is just so weird. The only way people are going to find out anything about his adventure or whatever is through his own mouth or his book. So what is he talking about? I don't know, maybe he's just trying to seem more important than he really is.
Guys, you're gonna find out. It may not be through me, guys, but you'll find out.
calm down, little man. No one even cares. Which is exactly why he had to turn off the like to dislike ratio bar and kill the comment section. There was a sea of people lighting him up and speaking out against this clown, and it was all for good reason too.
I just want to say, before the adventure takes off, that I am doing this because I don't want people to feel like I felt. I want the fucking world to learn from the mistakes that were made.
I want to see the world burn.
Dude sounds like the Joker. So he wants the world to learn from past mistakes that were only done by specific individuals. Not how that's gonna go over, champ, but go ahead and do it. I'm here to see how it all plays out. So he wants to change the world, but his lesson and his book will only be pushed out to a bunch of 14-year-old girls and not to the people who actually did this, who bullied him. So like I said, he's trying to teach something to others who had nothing to do with anything.
I don't want people to suffer and feel lost and feel how I felt. I want to make it better. I want to fucking do something.
Here come the crocodile tears. Good thing I'm a sociopath that doesn't fall for these shenanigans.
And that's what it comes down to. I need it to matter. I need it to be worth something. There has to be some lessons learned. Something has to be. What's the purpose of it, you know?
This is coming from a guy who literally built his career, his entire YouTube career, and social media success off of lies, manipulation, and persona manifestations. He wants to be accepted and to matter to people that bullied him and forcing him into hiding himself from the world, creating his own reality and friends. He wants to matter to those people, but has pride and is boastful about his online success that was built upon people who don't actually accept him because they don't know him, because he's been lying to them. And that's what we call a contradiction.
That's why I started the adventure. And because I don't want you. I don't want you or anyone you know or anyone I know to feel how I felt.
Okay, so what if one of his really young fans, which they have really young fans, he proved that in the coming out video, let me tell you. But what if one of them can't afford his book and they're having the same issues, the same pain, same experiences he did as a kid? How's he gonna help them? Jonathan can say all he wants about how he doesn't want others experiencing the pain he did and that he's here to help them, but all of that is under a condition, and the condition is money. You gotta buy his book. And you know, this kind of reminds me of these other vloggers called Jess Fam and OK Baby. They pushed out some half-assed kidnapping story where they acted like they were gonna get kidnapped. It was an obvious lie that was easily debunked, but they're using the same tactic that Jonathan is clearly using here, vaguely talking about the situation with no great details at all, but that hooks people in while also leaving them confused. And then later on, when they choose, they push out a fully monetized video with no proof and just words. And yes, they did the whole thing about how they wanted to help others and bring awareness to situations like these, you know, to keep women safe, while also not saying anything for weeks until the video was ready to go, which is exactly what Jonathan is doing here, except it's with a book.
So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna fucking try. I'm gonna be brave.
Hit himself for 41 years. LOL.
Because for things to fucking change and for people to grow and evolve, someone has to be brave. So I've decided I will be tribute.
Okay, Irish Katniss Everdeen, you didn't volunteer as tribute. You didn't volunteer to be brave. In fact, you are the definition of a coward because you apparently hid yourself from the world your entire life, even created an entire persona online and gained success off that, while also exploiting your children, especially Eduardo, using his journey, his story, his truth for content for money and views. Mind you, on top of all that, Jonathan also used Eduardo as a failsafe so that he can make sure it was okay for him to come out too, even though Eduardo had no choice whatsoever and still doesn't, which begs the question, If Eduardo wasn't accepted online, would Jonathan be brave enough to have done any of this? I mean, personally, I think so because he's a little clout chaser. But by the situation, he wouldn't, because Jonathan is nothing but a coward. And cowards hide themselves or behind others. And it doesn't even matter if they're hiding behind their own children. And like I said, the only people this is going to reach is 14-year-old girls who watch them, not some 45-year-old boomer who gave Jonathan wedgies in middle school. He's not going to change any minds. He's trying to teach lessons to people who had nothing to do with his apparent past pain.
And you still don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I know that. I'm sorry. Just, I needed to acknowledge today because it's so important.
Again, making no sense at all. The dude says a lot of words without any meaning to it, which is actually kind of weird that he can't say anything when he apparently went through it. My guess is that's because it's all BS.
And you're so important.
Only if you buy my book.
And thank you for being here today at the beginning of something huge.
Yet so huge, he managed to turn his own community against him. I mean, I guess that's a pretty big feat. Anyways, all you jealous haters, that's about it. Not really much else to say, but I'll leave you all with one quick little thought. And that's, remember in the beginning of the video, I guess it's kind of like the whole essence of the video, but remember when Jonathan states that he can manifest any persona and any personality trait at any given time if he wants, based upon his survival. So if that's the case, how do we know if that's not what's happening here right now? All this adventure garbage just so happened to be revealed after his internet fame and the views have gotten pretty bad. Eventually there's not going to be a person left watching them, but that's also like a lot of vloggers, unless you have like 20 million subs. So what if Jonathan coming out is just him manifesting a persona or personality trait so that he can keep his channel alive? He said it's all about survival, right? Even claimed he had the tools to do so. Claimed he was a master of his craft, which is, like I said, manipulation. In conclusion,
I spent a lifetime hiding my true self, and that has given me the tools I needed to become a master chameleon.